In our first video, we started by building a basic track. In this video, we'll continue by showing you ways to add depth to your track with decorations and curved driving lines. We will not get too advanced yet, so to get started, let's jump back in the editor. Okay, just like last time, let's search for a good place to build our track. We start off by throwing down 2 spline points. This time, however, we won't stop with just 2. Once we placed our first 2 spline points, we can add more by grabbing one of our placed spline points and copying it. Now if we place this new spline point so it's not in line with the other 2, we've created a curve in our driving line. You can create more spline points and add even more curves to your driving line, but for now, we'll keep it simple. One thing that is important to remember is to make sure your curve is not too sharp. To smooth out a curve, use the trigger buttons when you have a spline point selected. To save time, I've added some obstacles and checkpoints. Let's give it a test. One thing to keep in mind with a curved driving line is that the player may see more of the track, depending on the curve direction. This may affect track performance. Usually, the slower the bike is moving, the better, so it's generally a good idea to put obstacles on and around the curve that will keep the player from gaining too much speed. Now let's decorate our track. Just as before, hit the up arrow on the D-pad to enter the Objects menu. Let's grab a pre-made building. Buildings are a great way to add visual interest to your track and take up a large amount of space. Personally, I like drive lines curved to the left so the player can see what's up ahead. Let's place this building here and let the player know they will not be continuing straight ahead. Next, let's go to the Environment category, where we can find trees and other objects to add to our background. Placing trees and bushes can be a great way to fill in our background. Another very useful tool is the Terrain Stamp tool. Under Tools, Common, General, all the way at the bottom is the Terrain Stamp tool. You can use this tool to modify the terrain, creating hills, ditches, and many others on or off the driving line. It can also be useful to change the texture decal on the terrain. A great use for this is to place a driving line texture along our driving line. This not only makes the track more visually interesting, but gives the player an idea of which way the track will be going. Alright, there we go. Now the track is visually a little nicer. Let's give it a final test run to see how it looks. Again, I highly recommend checking out these lessons from later in the series if you have any questions or want to learn more regarding the tools we used in this video.